This is awesome because, I mean, Rodney, I want to show them how crazy you are. So I sent you an email and I said, oh, we got this great idea. We want to assemble all these cameras and we want you to come to Chicago and hang out with us, and we're going to kind of try to configure them because, you know, you're always sending me emails saying I can't get this camera to work in a rig, I can't get that camera to work in a rig. So I send you the email at 2 a.m. on a Friday, and then you send me one at like 6 a.m. on Saturday saying I'll be there at 1. And we're like, whoa, man, we got to get the cameras, man.
Well, you did good. You got them all.
We got them all. It was pretty crazy.
All these are together in one room.
Listen, if you're going to put out for a rig, it's great if it works with a lot of cameras.
I think people need to realize that when you have a rig on your body, the relationship between your hand, your shoulder, and your eye is always a constant. Your body is the same. So what do you do with the camera when you need to balance it? The only thing that a recoil is really is the equipment that you need to have for your eye, your hand, and your shoulder, and you take your camera and your lens and you slide it back and forth till you hit the balance point.
Right here, right up near the lens.
And that's what people need to know. No matter what we seem to do, it always seems to come out where the lens meets the camera body, you're very close to there, is on the center of your shoulder, and that creates the perfect balanced rig. And that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to take 6 components that we have and make it work with every single camera on the market.
It's easy for people to bolt stuff on and say that they have a rig for it. It's another matter to make it balanced and work correctly.
With the same parts.
Yeah, with very few parts, actually, yes.
Right. Now, we are going to also try on some accessory parts, like we're going to try our control grip and our EVF, but you could use other EVFs. And with these Canon cameras, you can use their hand grip.
Not to mention, we also have a few custom top plates for these cameras, like the F5, F55, the C300.
Let's get started, and we'll put up our first camera.
Okay, which one?
I don't know. Okay, so now we've got a classic DSLR. What is this, 5D Mark II, 3, whatever? This is our DSLR EVF recoil, and this is the kit. If you have this kit, it will work with every single camera we show in this video. You can use the half cage, you can use the top handle, which gets you your EVF if you need it. You could either have a regular grip. Here we have our control grip on here so that you can have, you know, your zoom motor we got going. And in the back, we have a Swiss plate with a battery. Don't have to have it. It does give you a little nice counterbalance when you have a super light camera. Just the rig is so damn light that a little bit of weight is kind of nice. Again, this rig can be used with every single camera. I want to make sure people understand that these top plates are not necessary. They're just a nice luxury.
It's because this half cage has our Z-rail on top that we're mounting the same parts.
And it can go from this height up to here, so it can wrap around an Epic. The other cool thing is that you can wrap this thing into a bag in 25 seconds.
The plate back there is great. You can put a Ninja Star in there to shoot ProRes, which is the first thing I do with the Mark III anyhow.
You recognize this camera?
I've seen it before. This is the red Epic.
But look how tight and compact it is.
And it's got a matte box on it. That's good.
Yeah, you always love holding that.
Well, I mean, you know, when push comes to shove, there's nothing quite like that, unless you see your fingers.
Which has happened before.
It has happened before.
Yeah.
So, very elegant viewfinder.
The advantage of our viewfinder is it's 3600, where I think theirs is around 4200, and it only works with their camera.
Yeah.
This one works with every camera. So again, the whole point of the Next Gen Recoil is to make these products that you buy that can work with every camera you have plus future cameras.
Yeah. That is a great thing to hear because nobody wants to repeatedly buy little pieces of machined aluminum.
Well, and electronic products. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Arri Alexa now. This is their shoulder pad, and we have moved it approximately 6 inches forward because obviously if your shoulder's here, you're going to be holding this all up, which you don't want to do. You want to be working with the camera, not holding the camera.
It feels great.
Yeah, your buddies on Shameless wear a shoulder pad on their body and they put the foot of this camera on their body there.
Yeah, they do.
But it tends to be very wobbly because your shoulder slopes and it has a lot of other issues there. We're going to try a little experiment here. Rodney, why don't you lead us in?
Well, The Cabrio is the big hot thing, but you know, 30 years ago, that's what showed up on your Betacam. So everybody from the old days knows exactly what that tool is.
The difference being, though, that the Betacam was a balanced camera. They had the shoulder pad in the right spot. The lenses were a little lighter, and the camera was heavier and lower. Right.
Yes.
So the problem is, if I had to reach back here and hold it, the blood is being cut off to my arm.
Yeah, I mean, this is all hard. This is supposed to be loose.
Ours can accommodate a position anywhere from here down to here. I kind of like it down here.
So let's explain what this is. This is our control grip. So this grip will allow you to put a motor on any lens. It allows you to have two potential motors, one for the iris, one for the zoom. If you have an EF lens, you can actually control the iris through the camera body because we have cables for this for all the different cameras. So you can start, stop the camera, dig into the menus, have pre-programmed buttons on this. It's self-powered with its own battery that will last over a day.
We got a cable that plugs right into this Cabrio lens.
Oh, and we have that. So if you actually own a Cabrio, he can control the Cabrio with this zoom rocker here. We have two ways we do this. This is the C300 Z-Finder recoil, and then we have a C300 EVF recoil. So let's talk about the Z-Finder recoil.
I love this rig. I took it to South Sudan on a job, and I also used it in China last month. It was fantastic.
There's a lot of mechanism here that comes when you buy the Z-Finder and the mounting kit that allows you to get this thing exactly where you want it, this way, up and down. That's the key to this.
To do it right, you cannot mount it to either their handle or even ours. It needs to come out farther.
We're using this custom helmet for the C300. Let's pull it off. What I like about this here now that people can see is, you know, this is solid now. You know, it's like a real camera. It's not wobbling and whatnot.
Not necessarily do that with their handle?
No, because the handle that comes with it's a little plasticky, a little shaky. If you want to move the AV unit up to here, you can do it either horizontally or vertically.
And of course, you can remotely mount their own handle. And actually, when this is locked in, you get a lot of purchase on this as well. So I found myself holding it like that.
But here you can reach the focus quite nicely there.
Yep.
Okay, so now let's take a look at the EVF version.
This thing is great. I mean, I had this on with the Alexa, and it was gorgeous.
This is a lot easier to focus than using the Z-Finder option. You know, the image is smaller, it's the right aspect ratio.
Yep, I don't really feel it's there.
So now we've added this AV unit to it, which is actually really nice. Here, I'm the assistant. I can, you know, start, stop the camera. You don't have to get down even, we're fine. I can open this up, I can adjust all the audio levels. The jacks are coming out here, so they're not in his face. And I can tip this down and I have a monitor.
You don't have an option to buy the camera without this, so you might as well use it.
So now we got this A7S. So some people are going to want to encage this and kind of use it like this, which is cool. You know, you can't all day use that, but in this scenario you can. You could theoretically use this on a reality show. You could do interviews. It's a documentary camera. We were going through some of the survey results of our Zacuto survey, and it said that, you know, 80% of the people that owned other cameras also owned a DSLR of some type. So this is an example that if you own a VCT plate and you own a half cage and you own a top handle, you can just use those same parts with any of your DSLRs or mirrorless cameras.
And you could hang out all day like this. This thing weighs nothing. It's brilliant.
Now we got the F555 up, and let's talk about some of the things we have on here. Okay, we have our VCT, and as you can see, it's approximately where the lens meets the camera body is the center of the shoulder, and you can see when he has it on that it is pretty much balanced. It looks almost like it's back heavy. They always do to me, but yet they're balanced. We have this special custom top plate. Now you don't have to have that. We could have used the half cage around here to allow us to mount the handle, but it is really nice having that custom top plate. We got the Cion camera this time. I kind of like this camera. It's very interesting. At first glance, I had some problems with it.
I know. I'm assuming you're talking about where the placement of the shoulder pad is, right?
Yeah, that's
because
a no-no.
As we always say, the balance point ends up being where the lens meets the camera body.
Approximately.
As you can see, this is farther back, especially with the lens that we're going to use today. That's going to be way up here. So you can't use that. You're going to have to use our foundation of the VCT.
We're showing it here with the Gradical. You could use in a pre-existing EVF.
This camera doesn't come with an EVF, so this is the perfect companion for it.
Right.
So you've had plenty of Alexas on. How does this feel for you?
Oh, this is effortless.
Right now, people might assume, well, that's such a long lens. No wonder you got to put your shoulder where it's at. But we're going to show you that even when we put a PL lens, a much lighter, shorter lens on, that you still need to have the VCT somewhere.
So right now, that is literally hanging over your shoulder where the lens meets the camera body. Let's go ahead and put the PL lens on it. Now, he's only gone forward about 1.5 inches because now the lens is meeting here as opposed to here.
You know, I can reach this focus quite nicely, actually.
It's balanced perfectly.
This essentially is pretty much a tripod kit. It's not going to allow you to have an EVF, but we're going to show you that in the next kit. This is a C100 Z-Finder mounting bracket, and this is a huge improvement over what we had before.
Now we've added the capability of mounting things to the top of this handle, along with having this arm that really supports the Z-Finder properly.
Some of the guys at IBC had mentioned that they sometimes want to take their handle off if they put their camera into their backpack. So Jens changed the design up here where he made it so that you can pop this off, you know, to make it go in your bag real quick like this.
No tools.
Now we're going to look at the C100 EVF recoil.
This is the part we had on earlier. What we're going to need now is this extension.
On this camera, we're kind of married to their handle because of the XLR and all the audio gear. So we decided it'd be best to make like a little top cage up here. And by doing that, we've created this rod clamp that we would normally do with our own handle. That's pretty rock solid there.
So now not only is it all balanced, you're nice and short and compact. You don't have to let go of anything. You're there.
Stop. No, it's a dream kit for a documentary camera, so it doesn't get any lighter.
Next camera, we have the digital Bolex. And I was just telling Rodney, if you look at it, you wouldn't even know the camera. It looks like every other rig we've built. They all look exactly the same. It becomes a rectangle with an EVF on the side. Same basic parts as the other kit.
But more importantly, I mean, we have the graticle. This camera, if you want to use it E&G style, doesn't have like a monitor of any type.
A lot of people do try and use LCD display to operate handheld, but without the third pick point in here, 1, 2, and 3 into my forehead, you lose a lot of stability.
Well, plus you can't see during the day.
But yeah, outside it's a problem, but then also for guys of a certain age, seeing something this close to your face is a little difficult.
All our ages. And actually, for critical focus, that doesn't fly anyways. You need to have something that you can totally rely on. That screen will give you critical focus. Again, same basic setup as the others. It has some issues that are a little more complex.
Yeah, obviously this was never probably designed to go on your shoulder, but we've got it working now, actually. And we have the battery slung below. That keeps the center of gravity low too, which is good.
Yeah, and you can put a recorder here, or you can use the onboard media. And now we've got, you know, zoom control, you've got iris control here, which you need because that touch screen, you will never be able to operate this camera. If you held it like this,
put it on,
you wouldn't be able to touch the screen. So this is a tripod-only camera. Now with the control grip,
just put it right on you.
You plug into the LAN C and you can control the camera. You know,
lens position is the same.
Yeah, you can still reach it with your hand.
It's a nice setup. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, Jens, as you can see, Rodney's gone now. Because this camera, the FS7, came out later than when we started that video. And it's the same problem that we have with every camera where you try to build a shoulder pad into the camera, and the problem is that
it's too far back, usually, for the balance point.
Yeah, the way we have this configured, the camera's behind your shoulder. So what are we doing different with this?
On top here, we're using actually their rod that goes through their handle, but we're using one of our swivels, which then connects to our Access Mini. You kind of want to keep this handle because it has the electronics in it.
Well, especially because it has that wireless control.
Yeah, the wireless control, but also start and stop in the zoom. So there's really no need to replace that. Using a separate viewfinder like this on here frees up this monitor to be used as an outside monitor for looking at your menus, or if you need to get your head away from the viewfinder and still frame your shot, like if you're holding it over your head.
No, it's great. It's an onboard. I mean,
yeah, it's an onboard monitor.
And it comes with it, and it actually has really nice resolution.
And by using this, it doesn't use up any extra SDI ports either. You're using the viewfinder port, so you still have a free SDI and an HDMI.
And you pick up an SDI here as well.
The out there, right.
Now this configuration we have here is the EVF recoil. We also are going to create a Z-Finder recoil. The only difference here now is we're still using the Access Mini. We've just replaced the graticle with their EVF and using our new flip frame that allows you to use our Z Finder on this camera. And the big difference there is it's very compact. When you use their EVF, it has to go so much farther out, and it's so wide that it ends up being in the image area. Well, Rodney, we got to thank you. I mean, this all came together kind of fast, but it was great having you here, and I'm glad that we could scrape all these cameras together and kind of experiment with this, and it was a good experience. Thanks for coming, man.
No, thank you. It's fantastic that these few parts are able to embrace all these cameras and pretty well make them all comparable. Good work.